Hi everyone, my name is Oyama Mdleleni. I am a purpose coach. I coach Christian women who want to thrive but are finding that they are facing hurdles in terms of growing in their spiritual journey. So by identifying what are the causes or the beliefs that are causing them to stumble upon or to get stuck or stagnant or find themselves facing these hurdles in their lives, so that they can thrive as they are partnering with God in fulfilling their purpose. So today I'm going to talk about faith versus doubt. What faith is and what doubt is. Faith, I've spoken before about faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So faith is believing that God, when he gives us all these promises, believing that he's telling the truth, even though we've never seen God, even though we've never also seen some of the promises that he's telling us. We haven't seen someone being healed from cancer. We haven't seen someone falling pregnant after being, after struggling with fertility maybe for over a decade. We haven't seen someone starting a business from scratch and really growing the business and the business becoming a legacy. When we have not seen those things and we believe that God is telling the truth and that those things are going to come into fruition. So that's what faith is. And then doubt is being double-minded. When we move from one belief to the next, when we move from the belief that God is not going to do it, and then now because of distraction or because of fear, we now see ourselves doubting that God is going to do it. So doubt is caused by fear and also by distraction. We see doubt clearly in the Bible in the story of Peter, where Peter is in a boat with the other disciples and Jesus is not with them because they departed from now the city that they were in, and Jesus told them that they were going to meet on the other side. So they left, got into the boat. Now in the middle of the sea, there started to be waves and strong winds, and now they were scared, and they saw someone coming and they thought it was a ghost, but it was Jesus. And Peter asked, if I can come to you, if you are Master, tell me to come. And Jesus tells him to come. And as he starts walking, Jesus was walking on the water, and they had not seen him walking on the water before. This was their first encounter seeing Jesus, who is God, walking on water. So he tells him, Master, tell me if you want me to come. And Master tells him, come. Then he starts walking on the water. And the Bible tells us, as he was walking on the water, then there were strong winds, and he took his focus away from Jesus and focused on the winds, and he started to drown. And Jesus pulled him up and said to him, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" So this tells us that distraction, if Peter had focused and fixed his eyes on Jesus, he was not going to drown. But because of distraction now, he started to believe that I've never done this before. I am not God. I am not the Messiah. Why am I doing this? I cannot do this. So those thoughts must have been running wild in his mind. Hence, then he started to drown. Even though Jesus was in his proximity, but still, he did not believe in himself that he could do it. So faith, but the Bible tells us that we have a measure of faith. Jesus tells us also that in the Bible that even if we had faith as the size of a mustard seed, we will tell mountains to move and be cast into the sea. So that means that even small faith, we can do signs and wonders with just small faith. If we were to be able to remove the doubt and just truly focus and fix our eyes on Jesus, we'll be able to do these signs and wonders. But then now, okay, I've mentioned that doubt is when we are fearful and also when we are distracted. Fear is internal, it's spirit. Because God tells us that in the Bible, I have not given you the spirit of fear and timidity, but of love, power, and a sound mind. That means fear is a spirit. So if it's a spirit, that means it's a choice. So now, this tells us that now, if doubt is caused by fear and by distraction, doubt, do we choose to doubt God in what he tells us in his promises? I believe that because of the beliefs that we've had now, thus far before we are born again, all the things that we've encountered, many of us have had traumas from our childhood. So these traumas, these experiences from people now who were in our proximity, people who were supposed to take care of us, people who were supposed to love and care for us, the things they said or the things they did not say, the things they did or the things they did not do, that made us now to have these beliefs, because from those experiences or the lack thereof of these things said, maybe whether people were telling us we were loved or protected, we were beautiful, we could do things, they did not say those things, or instead they said opposite, like will never amount to anything, or also they did things that made us take these experiences and feel some kind of a way, have these emotions that made us feel sad or fearful, doubtful, not feeling worthy, not feeling valuable, all these emotions that then framed these beliefs in our mind. We're taking in all these emotions that we are from our external environment, and we internalize them, which then end up being the ones that drive our choices and our decisions in the long run, because we've internalized them. So that is what happens then. We end up being adults who are so doubtful because of the things that were said to us when we were little, the mistakes that we made also as we were growing up, that we somehow even like trying to confirm the things that were said and done to us, whereas they were not true. Then also faith is like a muscle that needs to be stretched. The more we work on our faith, the more we grow on our faith. How do we then work on our faith? By stepping into the things that God is telling us to do, even though we don't know what is going to be the outcome, even though sometimes we're not even sure that we had right. But when we truly are feeling this push and this a nudge that says we must do something, and we keep on doing that thing until that thing produces results. So that is how we stretch ourselves into this faithful being, and also just by also reminding ourselves of the things that God has done in the past, because God is faithful. When he wants us to God will never ask us to do something he has not shown us before. So when he tells us to step out in faith from a place that was of comfort and was really just not growing us spiritually, and it instructs us to step into faith, he's shown us that he is faithful before. It's just that we need to go back to our memory and remember the things that he took us through, the things also that we got ourselves in, but God pulled us out in the pits, and all those things, the things that he did for us before, and we bring those things into remembrance. So doubt, Jesus tells them that you of little faith, why did you doubt? That means that doubt is not absent of faith, but the faith is little. And I believe that God, when we are doubting, God is not rebuking, because Jesus is not rebuking Peter when he's doubting. Because I believe in the early stages of our faith, doubt is going to creep in, because we're still trying to build our muscle, build our faith muscle. So because our faith is still little, but as we grow into stepping out into these faithful steps and undertakings that God is calling us into, then now doubt starts to depreciate, because now our faith is increasing, So doubt is not absent of faith, but at that point in time, faith is very little, because we are still having these beliefs that are not serving us, that are causing us to doubt. Then I've also come up with a formula for faith and for doubt, that I've also, from reading scripture, that I came up with. So the Bible tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So substance of things hoped for, these are God's promises. Desires that we have, they come from God. Yes, the enemy can also give us desires, but we are able to separate or differentiate between the two. Desires that come from God and desires that come from the enemy. Desires that come from God do not just benefit us, but they benefit everyone who's surrounding us. And desires that are coming from God, we can never do them on our own. We need to partner with God and also to partner with other people for us to be able to bring them into fruition. But desires from the enemy are always perverted and are a total opposite of what God tells us in his word. So these are promises that the substance of things, those substance of things, these are promises of that we hope for, because these are desires that are given to us by God. These are things that we are hoping for. And the Bible tells us that hope is unseen. So when you're hoping for something, it's because that thing you have not seen it. That is what hope is. And then now, of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So now, when we're working on our faith now, we need that obedience. We need to work and move and do. It's a doing word. We need to go and do. We can't just sit and be faithful and just not do anything about it. Whereas doubt, this side, these are promises of God. But now, because of fear, because of all the things that we've gone through, the trauma, the things that we have not yet addressed, that are causing us to hinder, or are causing a hindrance in terms of us growing spiritually. And we are fearful of walking in faith and doing things that God is calling us to do. And also we add above that distractions. When we distract ourselves with the things of the world, then we won't be able to hear God when God moves or tells us to move. We won't be able to really have that intimacy with God, so that we are able to know where do we go from here. So these, I believe, comprise of doubt, and when we can eliminate, but faith, we can still move in faith with the presence of fear, but we just don't let fear be the one that drives us into our destination. But faith, we let faith drive us. So promises multiplied by fear over distraction, that will cause us to doubt. And when we really sit on this and we allow ourselves to be distracted by the things we see, hear, and speak, then by people, places, also in possessions, then we're not going to move into the promises of God. Whereas faith, you look at the promises, you look at the hope that you have that these things are going to come to fruition, and also your obedience, your part. We always have a part. When we partner with God, there's a part we need to play. So this is my sharing for the day. I hope you've learned something. I hope you can also send me your own comments and your own experience, and also send me a DM so that we can engage further. Until next time then, please do remember that God loves you. Goodbye then.